Some of my favorite knives are fidget-friendly knives. These are knives that you can endlessly open and close without much thought to it. The Protech Malibu is one of those knives. The selling point of this knife is that it's very flickable and fun. So let's go inside and take a closer look at the Protech Malibu. Welcome back to Blade Insider, where we talk about all things knives. In this episode, we're going to review the Protech Malibu. I've been waiting to do a review of a Protech knife for over 2 years. I've had the Protech t-shirt long before I ever owned one of their knives. Protech is known for producing automatic knives. Their claim to fame is that their automatics kick like a mule when you deploy them. However, the Malibu is not an automatic knife. It's a flipper with no springs in it. It is, however, an exceptional flipper that is very fidget friendly. In fact, it has taken the knife world by storm since its introduction in 2020. The hype that this knife has gotten has had some detrimental effects on its availability. It's very hard to purchase. Most online vendors are quickly sold out. Typically, Protech resupplies vendors once a month, and that stock is quickly sold. My review knife was purchased from Blade HQ as an exclusive. It has blue scales and S45 blade material. It quickly sold out within minutes of its availability. So it's not easy to get, but they are available if you're diligent. Now, before we get into the review, I would like you to consider subscribing to this channel and ring that bell to get our notifications. Protech is a family-owned company that's been building American-made knives since 1998. Their website claims that they build their knives with the most current high-tech processes, including CNC machining, wire EDM, and laser cutting. Each of these components are hand-assembled by craftsmen. Protech makes some of the most interesting custom knives for collectors. In 2018, they won the Blade Magazine Investor Collector Knife of the Year Award with their Newport Diamond Ultimate. This knife was very beautiful, but also pricey at $12,500. Other than the Newport, they build less expensive but also very beautiful collector knives. So is this knife worth the hype? Let's go to the bench and take a closer look at the Protech Malibu. We review our knives based on 5 categories: design and aesthetics, carryability, materials, usability, and value. We total these scores up for an overall score at the end of the episode. Our first review category is design and aesthetics. Every design element of this knife is targeted toward one-handed operation. These include its easy to deploy flipper tab and its button lock that facilitates easy one-handed operation. The scales are anodized blue aluminum, which was part of the Blade HQ exclusive model. The button lock and pivot and screws all have satin stonewash finish that complements the blue scales. The spine of the knife is 2/3 closed with an interesting shutter pattern. This gives the knife the look of an integral scale similar to the Benchmade Anthem, but it's definitely a 2-piece chassis. The clip is a minimal deep carry with its screws set in the scales. It's functional, but isn't a predominant feature of the knife. Protech uses T6 screws on this knife. Given the heavy-duty style of this knife, you would think they would have used T8 screws to allow easier maintenance on the knife. The flipper tab has non-aggressive jimping that provides just the right amount of grip. The stonewash finished blade comes in 2 styles, Wharncliffe and reverse Tonto. This review unit is a reverse Tonto blade style. The only branding on the knife is on the spine, with the Protech and the particular knife steel used for the blade. So for design and aesthetics, this knife rates a 4 out of 5. This is a knife you want to give a 5 out of 5 to. The ease of its one-handed operation demands high scores. I love the reverse tanto blade shape, and the size of the knife is big, but not too big to prevent it from being used every day. The reason it gets a 4 is that the aluminum scales are thick, maybe a bit too thick, and it's a plain knife, which isn't bad, but it just won't win any beauty contests. Our next category is carryability. Let's run the tail of the tape on this knife. My favorite type of knives are those that can be handled with one hand. The blade on the Malibu can easily be engaged and disengaged with one hand. The knife fits very comfortably in my hand. My index finger fits snugly behind the flipper tab, and there are indentations on the scales for each finger. The aluminum scales are contoured so there are no hot spots when bearing down on the knife. The scales are thick and provide support for your thumb to help guide the blade. There's no jimping on the spine of the blade, which allows your thumb to slide back and forth. Finally, the knife is heavy enough to go through several Amazon boxes, but light enough to fit easily in your pocket. For carryability, this knife scores a 4 out of 5. The knife is a little thick in the pocket. It certainly isn't the thickest knife out there, but thick enough to notice. The knife hits a real sweet spot in terms of size, and is just a touch heavy to be the perfect weight. Next is materials. The knife's scales are made of aluminum. This makes the knife durable and provides a nice base for the anodized blue color. But they're not titanium. Titanium would cut a bit more weight from this knife. And at this price point, you would expect upgraded scale material. A similar product from Kaiser would probably be in titanium. The blade material is CPM S45VN. Normally, Protech uses CPM 20CV steel in this Malibu. It's generally known as one of the best all-around steels for knives. S45 steel is Crucible Industries' evolution of the S30 steel. CPM S45VN steel is a high alloy stainless steel with outstanding edge retention, increased corrosion resistance, and modest toughness. It's a step forward from S35VN, but its improvements are incremental, not orders of magnitude better. There are 3 significant things to know about S45VN steel. It has high vanadium content for very tough carbides used for edge retention. It has high chromium for increased corrosion resistance, and niobium content for cleaner grind and machinability characteristics. In late 2019, Crucible Industries debuted S45VN steel. It's specifically designed to enhance their S30V and S35VN series for general high-end cutlery and cutting tools. Knife maker Jeff Freeman stated that, "I think CPM S45VN is a good improvement both for the maker and the end user. It has about the same edge retention as S30V steel, but with better toughness and corrosion resistance. It's similar in toughness to S35VN, but you get improved corrosion resistance and edge retention." For materials, this knife gets a 4 out of 5. Generally, Protech uses high-end steels in their blades. The aluminum scales are great, but for this price point, titanium scales should be an option. Our next category is usability. How useful is this knife? First, its ease of one-handed operation ranks it high among usability. Next, it's a very solid knife. it will cut through your Christmas boxes without any trouble. Let's see how this cuts through paper. Comes very sharp from the factory. Next, let's see how this knife fits in your jeans. Now the Malibu will fit in the watch pocket of your jeans, and the deep carry clip will slide easily into the pants pocket of your jeans as well. Now that leaves a lot of room for your Apple iPhone or wallet. For usability, this knife scores a 5 out of 5. It's a heavy-duty knife that is easily operated with one hand. Our final category is value. The price of this exclusive knife with S45 steel was $225. This makes it $35 more than a comparable Benchmade Osborne 940. Comparable knives from Kaiser cost about $130 with titanium scales. And to be fair, demand certainly outweighs supply on this knife. Protech sells their knives for a premium, same as Benchmade and Spyderco. Their knives are made of solid materials and with good quality control. For value, this knife scores a 3.5 out of 5. It's a bit overpriced, selling for over $200. If we total up all the scores, the Protech Malibu scores a 4.1 out of 5. It seems that this knife is better than the overall score would reflect. And don't get me wrong, this is a great knife and one that I will keep in my collection. But is it worth all the hype? Probably not. After 2 years of its introduction, it should be more available than what it currently is. So, what do you think? Is the Protech Malibu a reinvention of the flipper? Is it worth all the hassle in trying to track one down? What do you think of the price? Tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Well, that's it for this video. Remember, be responsible, be respectful, and be happy. We'll see you soon.